Everyone to our international forum discussion. This is like the after discussion. Global crisis, there is a way out. We're here with all of our hosts, co-hosts. My name is Dudley Najieb. I've got Taliy to the left, to the right. We've got Olga, we've got RoyStar, and we've got Elizaveta. And this after discussion is important, especially if you missed any part of the global crisis, there is a way out. And we want to start with Elizaveta first, I'm thinking, because that was pretty serious, Elizaveta. She gave us what was happening on other planets and how that is affecting the entire universe. I think that opened my eyes to a different realm. I don't know about you all, but I'm really hoping that we can start there first, Elizaveta, if that's okay. We really need that breakdown of the whole planetary system, how it's all a part of what is happening right now on Earth. Elizaveta?
Greetings, dear friends. Yesterday, the second part of the climate report was announced at the forum. The first part was showed at the forum Global Crisis, Our Survival is in Unity. And yesterday's forum, The Global Crisis, There is a Way Out, was the second part of climate report. And we shared the understanding that we already heard in the first part, and in particular, we talked about the cycle that takes place every 12,000 years and caused by external cosmic influence that comes and influences the core of our planet, not only on Earth, but all planets in the entire solar system, and it acts on the core of the Earth because the core of our planet is not just metal alloy. This is an inner solid core or a liquid outer core. It's an iron alloy. But the inner solid core is a neutron star. That is, it is the densest pack of neutrons which are stable just when they are in such dense pack, just like it happens with neutron star. And thanks to this dense packing, the external cosmic impact which freely passes through it and does not interact with any other shells, but it's trapped by the core. Because of this, our planet's core is now heating up. Entropy is growing in the system, and the outer core, more molten liquid core, is heating up. Magma inside the metal also begins to heat up, causing this liquefied magma to rise. And also, as a result of mixing with the not yet heated parts of the magma, the strongest cavitation explosions occur, which cause shock waves, micro shock waves in the scale of the planet, but these are macro explosions of hundreds of thousands of nuclear bombs which take place right under our feet. And now we're recording these explosions as such, as a ricochet from them as a deep focus earthquakes. And these very earthquakes are increasing right now. This is precisely cavitation explosion that caused the catastrophic earthquakes that occurred in Turkey and Syria. And similar processes are now taking place on all planets in the entire solar system. And what is surprising, on Mars, seismic activity is increasing and magma is rising as well, even though the core of Mars is no longer working as it should. It's no longer generating magnetic field. Yesterday at the forum, we also talked a lot about the planet's magnetic field. What other changes in the magnetic field right now are taking place due to the cycle. Again, because the inner core is heating up, and what effect that has on the other, on living organisms, and including humans. This is really important. And now the population of many species is reducing because the magnetic field is weakening, and there are atypical kinds of anomalies. Also, people are getting mental disorders. Cancer is increasing. And of course, the scariest is sudden death syndrome, because the human cardiovascular system cannot withstand those sudden bursts of electromagnetic energy that occurs due to all of those cavitation explosions. And this is exactly what was discussed in detail at yesterday's forum. with all facts proven.
Take a second to say thank you to the scientists and researchers of the Creative Society. And we can see, even from what Elizabeth just said, what we watched at the forum yesterday, we can see that this is a multidisciplinary approach. The scientists have been working at this research and at these studies for over 2 decades. And this is very, very important. You know, the statistics and facts that were brought up, it's we can see that this is the reality, you know, and for those people that like to look at facts, that like to look at statistics, that like to read all this is all available. And, you know, I encourage everyone to watch the forum that took place yesterday on April 22nd, Global Crisis, There Is a Way Out. And Elizabeth kind of summed up the climate portion. Mm-hmm. Maybe we can talk about the other fields, the other things that were brought up. Maybe we can talk about the way out.
Oh, definitely. I like it when we mention in the way out because it was the most inspirational part. And, you know, usually after the forum, we get a lot of questions from folks who have seen it, and they're like, oh, can you explain to us in details why our planet survived through past 12,000 year cycles, or how did the water is going to explode? It's like unseen concept. Yeah. And then we have to explain these questions on streams like this. Mm-hmm. This time it was so comprehensive that I have no even idea what kind of questions could be disclosed in more details. Mm-hmm. But what's amazing, before we get to the inspirational part, I just want to say that it's incredible that what Elizabeth and the whole team was doing. They were taking the very same data that USGS is using, but the conclusions that they came to were much more comprehensive. Like, for example, that very famous tweet that Olga posted, where we disclosed that Yellowstone is showing alarming signs of activity. It got a very plain answer from USGS, official answer, nothing to worry about, nothing to see here. Like that meme with Leslie Nielsen, just passed by, nothing to see here. And then how did our team approach it? They took the most comprehensive approach, took all the facts into the consideration and presented what actually is happening there. I would love to see the answer. I would love to see USGS saying something about that. And the very same thing was done with NASA, with Mars. They presented the facts using the very same data from NASA, but much more comprehensive, much more in details and logic. You know what's cool? That logic that anyone can apply and use it and just verify the facts. It seems so simple, but it's a tremendous amount of work behind it. So thank you so much, Elizabeth, for doing that. And and after that, when of course, that film about Mars, everyone should watch because it shows exactly what happened to our planet, what might happen, what is happening right now. And then we made this transition into the most inspirational part, which started with RoyStar and actually self-governance, like how much important it is to have the self-governance.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. Right now in our world, we need this information because information is power. Mm-hmm. So in order for us to be in a world where we can actually have the responsibility of self-governing, you need this power, and which is in the information, which was in the forum yesterday. So, yeah.
I think even some of the simplest, and going back to Elizabeth's discussion about the universe, the planet, I think it was important where she explained a simple reason as to why Mars is red, the red planet, and how we one day might end up that way ourselves. I think the explanation of something what some people consider too scientific for them to understand was broken down. So I really want people to go back and look at the first part, which is a better explanation of just like what you said, what's not being explained, what's not there in the USGS data or in NASA's data. It's not there. But I think Elizabeth made that in plain English. And I just want to say that before we transition to that second half. The first part, very important for you to watch. It's breaking down beyond the Earth. You're looking at the universe, and that is what Elizabeth was able to help us understand, and all of the scientists who were involved in breaking down that concept and explanation. And so I'm inviting you all to do the same thing. I'm going to go back and watch it. What part for you stood out in that first part that you would go back and watch? RoyStar, what about you?
Yeah, in the first part, like just the information, as far as the climate situation, what's actually causing the the impetus as to what's going on, the impact on the core. I don't think most people are aware of that. Most people that I speak to in my demographic, they always try to blame HAARP. They try to blame these man-made devices, these man-made machines that they think could contribute to such a large-scale impact on the planet, when now we know, in point of fact, this is because of an external factor, things that we cannot control, things that are beyond our control, which to me opens the whole horizon to everything that we're speaking to.
I think that's important what he said, that it's not necessarily the human experience that's causing what we look at the climate change. We're looking at a more beyond global change that is happening universal. And I'd like to thank Elizabeth for that.
And it's very important that we talked yesterday at the forum too, we brought up the sudden adult death syndrome,
Yes.
which is a big deal right
Huge.
now. And we can see the numbers rising. And yesterday, actually at the forum, we discussed why it's happening and the correlation, also the extinction of insects and so on and so forth, and why that's going on with the animals. So it's interesting that everything is so interrelated, and that was
All of it is interrelated. All of it.
We've seen on the news how people admire in this beautiful northern lights in state of Washington, in in southern Europe, where it's never been seen before, and it's red auroras and it's pink. And finally, there was an explanation why, and that it's interconnected with everything else. It's a sign of our magnetic field changing, not for the good. It's not a good sign. And you can see Twitter is filled with these pictures, and you can see people, they don't even realize what it means. And one of the things that people don't realize also, I remember when earthquake happened in Turkey and Syria, many people started looking, who forecasted it? And they came across some Twitter account, and there was something like that, and people got buzzing. Well, our forum started with interviews and this serious topic, and then there was one part that maybe Elizabeth could explain a little more. It was saying that throughout past years, on this very part where Anatolian plate gets on the border with other plates, there was some deep focused earthquakes over there, right? And by those earthquakes and tremors, we can say that something like that can be repetitive and occur. At least that was my conclusion from that. And as we also noticed, that climate Cerberus is attacking the very same spot multiple times. So it's not like one time something happened and then it goes to the other part of the world. It stays in the very same region. Like in California, we've seen how many floods, repetitive storms, and so on. And is it the same situation with earthquakes in Syria and Turkey region? Elizabeth, could you explain to us a little bit more about deep focused earthquakes in that area?
Yes, this is really so. Taliy, thank you so much for paying attention to this question. We really noticed that a year before these catastrophic events in Turkey and Syria, which took place, there was a whole series of deep focus earthquakes in 2021. There were more than 190 of them, despite the fact that only 260 have happened in the whole year. That is, there were 190 earthquakes under the Middle East region, just where Turkey and Syria are located. And in the rest of the world, there were only 70 deep-focused earthquakes. And we interpreted it is in such a way that by the confluence of the internal processes of the location, specifically of the core, of those cavitation explosions that just occur at the boundary of hot and cold magma, there will probably some area where deep focused earthquakes are constantly occurring right now. And it was in 2021 that they began to ricochet precisely under the Anatolian plate. Because of that, the plate began to collapse. And later on, in 2021, there was a serious preparation. Later on, one ricochet that hit this zone is accordingly caused the catastrophic earthquakes. That is, we understand that this may be one of the prognostic signs. And that is why we have now created a page on our website of the Creative Society. Appear the section Climate, subsection Data Analysis, where you can see interactive graphs and maps. And we downloaded all the data from the database of the International Seismic Monitoring of ISC, and just we have the latest information uploaded right before the forum, uploaded to our website, and you can download this data yourself. You can try to analyze it yourself. Perhaps you will see some other patterns. And right now you can open up the map and see where the most deep focus earthquakes take place at the moment. That is, it can be a wake-up call. But it's absolutely necessary to consider the system comprehensively. And we will not undertake to give an accurate forecast, as some seismologists are doing right now, because unfortunately, at the moment, it's not enough to study any one parameter like a deep-focused earthquakes. As we said, there is a very close connection with magnetic anomalies, because the cavitation explosion emits electromagnetic energy, and because of this, such anomalies occur. Exactly this year, the fact that the birds did not fly away from certain zones in some places, amphibians began to die in a great number, and abnormal pillars, glow, abnormal aurora began to appear. And now we need to bring all this information together in order to observe what is happening in the atmosphere, how exactly such anomalies manifest themselves in the atmosphere as a response to what is happening in the bowels of the Earth, what is happening in the middle of the Earth's crust, how crust reacts, in fact, to these cavitational explosions. Thank you.
And about the light pillars, we just saw news that there was a light pillar in Detroit, which is just a couple days ago.
Huge. That's huge news, and no one can explain this. Nobody has explanation except for the Creative Society team.
Creative Society, everyone. And thank you, Elizabeth, for helping to draw us in and bring out those highlights, those key points that we really need to pay attention to in the first section. And so we thank you for that. We thank you for taking the time out today to address that. I want to go into the second half. There was a lot of information that we can pinpoint, but let's start with we'll start with you first, Taliy. What for you stuck out the most in the second part? Because there's a whole bunch in there, but give me the top three.
Well, I would say technologies, because that was the part I was involved into, and showing how much tremendous potential we have with our AI development, with what is the difference between the artificial consciousness and artificial intelligence, that you will not ever have the basic artificial intelligence evolve into the Skynet or Matrix. That is impossible. That are some scary fairy tales that you can hear from some people who are way far behind their competition. So they're trying to limit their competitors on legal level to develop their own AI, because it's a tremendous financial cash flow that's going to be concentrated in the hands of those people who are going to come up with the first general universal AI. And that is happening right now. So let's understand the whole picture. What is happening behind the things when you hear that, oh, Elon Musk is trying to, put a 6-month ban on AI. It's not to save the humanity. They have their own interest, and that is fine. In the consumerist format, that is totally fine to pursue your private interest. But right now, the question is, one of the things was that that we also discussed, that it doesn't make sense to have this competition if it doesn't benefit the whole humanity, because by ourselves, nobody is going to be able to dig the bunker deep enough to go through what's coming up, the peak of the cycle. And actually, the deeper your bunker is, the sooner it's going to melt, because the magma is rising from below.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because I was wondering, because people that happen to be quite affluent, and they're getting these bunkers underground. I'm like, okay, is someone going to explain that they're not safe either? I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, I don't know, maybe RoyStar, what about the financial issues? You've seen how much money can American budget save only on optimizing the financial spendings. And we know how much of a problem it is, even in the United States, the misusage of governmental funds. And you've seen the Voskhod multipurpose complex can save up to $2.5 trillion a year. What do you think when you hear about this?
I think it's a solution that a lot of us have been looking for. A lot of us have had this mistrust in government due to our inability to trust where they use our money, our taxes, and what's going on with that. So the implementation of a program like VOSCOD that can actually come in there, sort things out, give us transparency as citizens, as taxpayers, as to what our government is doing with our funds. I think that's a tremendous step in the right direction for humanity.
Well, and then people ask in the creative society, we're going to have, all kinds of things that are for people.
Can't
for example, $10,000 a month, universal basic income, free healthcare, free medicine, everything, no wars, no violence. And then people ask, where will the money come from?
That's the
and
first
this
question.
is yes. And this answers the question already, because that's already frees up so much money. And people can have all that available to them, all those funds. And it's going to be amazing. And plus, not only we're going to have that in the transition period in the creative society, we're going to have beautiful technologies that Taliy was talking about. So.
I like that we're reminding people that there is a way out. So you have to go and watch part 2. Part 1 is just as incredible as part 2, but part 2 is going to answer the questions that you've had about the creative society. Where's the money going to come from? How are we going to do this? Is this real? Is this a hoax? Or is this a joke? This is not a joke, and this is not a hoax. I'm here to tell you that. Right, RoyStar? This is not a joke or a hoax?
No joke, no hoax, y'all. Check it out. Yeah.
Check that out.
Yeah, probably if you're saying, okay, number 2. Number 2 is the justification of the economy of the creative society, because the way our economic team approached this, we had multiple approaches. And the video that Alexei presented, it was incredible. It shows step by step what exactly has to be done to actually transform the economical model, and that it makes so much more sense to change the system, to approach the system from a different angle, rather than fight never-ending consequences of the consumerist approach, where profit tops everything. And, it's done on the expense of human life, on the expense of majority of population, that only a few people really making profit and benefiting out of this system. And we can approach it from a different angle, and it was shown how. And very interesting part about that there was one clip that never made it to the conference, but I would just like to emphasize on that part, that there have been no attempts to use AI to actually develop a system of economy which would be free of inflation, free of crisis, free of any problems, and benefit all people. Have you guys never even ask this question? Why do I have AI in my cell phone? Why do I have AI suggesting me advertisements? Why do I have AI even working with airplanes and navigation systems, everything? The only part where AI is not being used is how to develop the economic model that would be crisis-free and how to implement self-governance. Isn't that amazing? Why do we not asking this question? So what do you think? What do you think is going to happen when people are going to start asking this question?
Well, you know what it is? I think the movies really influence what people think about AI. I just have to put it out there. Because if you look at all that, in my day, as I was coming up, Terminator, everybody watched that, and they looked at AI controlling the whole society and these robots taking over. For them, it was a scary thought. So if someone is somebody doing that on purpose, Taliy? Help us understand what that part is all about, because that's what's really, that's your disruptor right there.
Well, entertainment is fun. We all love watching movies.
I like the Terminator. I'm not gonna lie, I like watching it.
It is fun. And the technology is only a tool. Even a simple hammer can be used to build a house, or you can use it against another human being. It is the choice that we make. And the question is, who has this technology in their hands? And of course, it will be used for the benefit of a few people if it's in their hands. If we're going to have one tech company in Silicon Valley own this AI, we're not even going to know how this technology rolls out. They're going to make it low-key and quietly take over industries. Exactly like you've seen the Google all of a sudden started giving you very good ads and suggestions. They never said, oh, we using our technologies to do that. They just started doing this. So if we're not going to be proactive here, and we're not going to request the usage of these technologies to be beneficial for all, of course it's going to be used for profiteering, for money making, and so on, and to beat the competition in the market.
So just to be clear,
consciousness
in AI can't just take over the world.
AI cannot evolve into consciousness.
I have to let you know that. I'm trying to talk to the audience. They need to hear that.
AI is a very basic algorithm. You know, it calculates, it's add up 2 + 2. Of course, you can create some kind of fake identity for that AI thing, but it's never going to be considering itself as a personality. That's
so
impossible.
AI consciousness won't be floating in the air, in the ions, and just taking over the world. We have to say this. That's why I'm not being funny.
We absolutely have to say
people ask these questions, right, RoyStar?
Yeah, exactly.
Olga,
Yeah.
Elizabeth, people ask these questions. So I'm asking it for the public.
People are worried about new technologies,
Yes.
AI, yes, and you're right, it is with the movies and the news and things like that.
Makes us fearful.
Yeah.
That's all I want to say about that. And so what was it? Did you want to say your third thing before we...
Well, yeah,
Taliy.
It was very interesting that, again, the same tech block and self-governance, we showed if the power belongs to the people and it's equally distributed among all people, then nobody can misuse these technologies for their personal gain on expense of other people. And this is incredible. This shows us exactly how we can make the system where everyone benefits from any technologies. In that case, even having artificial consciousness is not a problem because it's going to be beneficial for all of us. How education is going to be happening when all the kids will be, instead of sitting in school and raising their hands, they will be actually playing games and developing this new ways of thinking, exploring physics. And you know what? The physics part was probably the number 3, the very end of the forum. The part where we said that, you know, there was one quote. It was saying that if you're a scientist and you cannot explain your theory to a 5-year-old, then it means you're a charlatan.
You saw that? I saw that quote.
Yeah, that's why when we see all these people who using, you know, fancy words and trying to portray themselves as knowledgeable, they just cover in their incompetence and inconfidence. Really passionate people who are passionate about their field of research, they always share it in the way that would be understandable and, you know, that would inspire interest in other people. And that's what we've seen in the very last hour of the forum yesterday, when the presentation, it was presented in the form of a film, of a cartoon film, on purpose to make it simple and spark this curiosity in our viewers. And hopefully among them, there will be those true scientists who will use this fundamental ground to actually evolve, to make things like replicator, like a capsule of...
I get one of those capsules. I mean, can I put my order in now? I'm just saying, I like the capsule.
And to Tally's point, like that's a question I think a lot of us get like all the time when we tell people about replicator technology. We tell them that all the benefits that will be in the creative society. When they go, well, where is it? How does it work? The forum yesterday explained everything. So I think anybody who has questions, anybody who has concerns, is it here now? Can we do it now? Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
The forum explains everything. So,
but how can we, Olga?
We talked a lot about the benefits. We talked about a lot about what's going on with the climate, right, in the first part. And we talked a lot about the benefits, what's going to happen, what each person will get in the creative society. That's a good point. What do we need to do now? How do we get there?
Oh, I can tell you one thing is people always ask about change, right? How does change happen? With you. Starts with you, because people wait for the change to happen. I'm a witness to that because I did that in the beginning.
Tell us your story.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just going to tell to the world. I'm going to let you all know. I did not think I was going to be on this platform right here. In all honesty, can I just be honest about that? And even when I met with you and also with Marina and Valerie, I think you were there too. So when we met, I'm thinking, oh, this is cool, Creative Society. I'm just going to slowly check it out. I'm just going to get my toe wet, not my whole foot, just my toe, and I'm going to find out more about it. And then when Marina's like, oh, well, you know, we would love for you to be involved in the coordination center. I'm like, what is that? You know, coordination center. What do I have to do? Does that mean I have to get involved? What do I have to have gobbles and oodles of money? And, you know, I really thought that the someone else was not going to be me. That's the reality of it. And then I realized the someone else, Elizabeth, has to be me, has to be you. And we have to step out on what we know. You step out on truth. If you want to step out on faith, you can add that in there too. Right, RoyStar? It's all about us being the change that we want to be. Instead of people just kicking back, waiting, waiting for someone else to be the change. And I was waiting for someone else. I thought, I'll let someone else do it. I looked at RoyStar's videos before I even got into the Creative Society. I looked at scientist John. I looked at Elizabeth. And I'm thinking, oh, well, they're all doing it. So I'm going to let them go about their way and follow what they do and see what happens. We can't wait and see what happens. We wait and see what happens. We may not be here, and along with the planet. We know what's going to happen.
We know what's going to happen.
We know what's going to happen, but we know what you can do to help make everything happen in the Creative Society. Creative Society wants you to be a part of that individualism, because people think that it is something that it is not, but it is you being the individual, your talent, your skills, being a part of it. If you got to check out RoyStar's talents and his skill set, wow, everybody has their own additive to bring to the Creative Society. I bring my own additive to the Creative Society, and I realized there's no judgment here. I didn't get judged for just being the outspoken host that I probably am. So sorry. But in all reality, that's my story. That's my story. I really thought it was going to be someone else.
And yesterday we went through the stages of building the Creative Society. We know that there's 3 stages, right? It's the informational, political, and the world referendum. And right now we're in the informational stage. So what does it mean for everybody? It means that every single person right now needs to inform about the Creative Society. And yesterday we went through all the steps on how you can do it. And also there's a good tool on the creativesociety.com website, which is the Act Now button. You can always visit that as well, or watch the previous forum, watch this forum. And what can you do right now? You can, start a recording video, start recording your, record a feedback about the forum after watching it, start sharing information, invite your neighbors, invite your friends to watch it. You can always put a sticker on your car, something in front of your house, a flag, anything. Make a t-shirt with a logo. If you're a business owner, you can always, put something in your business. I mean, there's so many things that we discussed yesterday on how you can inform, because that is the first step. We need to form that demand. People need to want to live in the Creative Society. And right now we understand that this is our only option, right? Either do it or we don't. We know what the other option is. We talked about it in part 1 of the forum.
Sure did.
And we all know here that, we don't want that. So there's a lot of things you can do. And then one of the other things that was discussed is the coordination centers that you mentioned. It is also, something that you can do. You can establish your own coordination centers in your town, in your city, in your neighborhood. You can go global. You can do it local. It doesn't matter if you live in, some small part of the world. It doesn't matter. On an island, you can establish them anywhere.
How many people, Olga, do I have? 1 people, 2 people, 3 people? How many people do I have in my coordination center?
Well, it always starts with that 1.
Oh, there you go.
It always starts with 1. And then once you take that step, there's going to be tomorrow, there's going to be 2, then there's going to be 5, then there's going to be 25 of us. Then you can inform your whole town, your whole city. It's very important. And why do you need a coordination center? First of all, it's a place. It doesn't have to be a location. It can be, right? But it can be done online. And yesterday at the forum, we discussed how it can be done. And it's a place for you to coordinate actions with other participants, to talk about what you can do. And it doesn't mean that you only talk to the local people. You can also coordinate with the other coordination centers and see what they're doing. And then this is slowly but surely, that organization and that communication and so on will get us to that next level of informing everybody. Maybe somebody else would like to add something about
RoyStar Coordination Center. What do you
I think, and I would recommend for those who do want to establish a coordination center, speak to the language of your people, your neighborhood, in a way that they can understand and ingest and digest the information so that it can spread faster. If you're in an urban neighborhood, spice it up, sauce it up. You know what I'm saying? If you're out in the country, you know what I mean? Throw on the country hat, some boots, you know what I mean? Do what you got to do for your people to understand the message and to just spread it and make everything, adaptable for everyone. So,
and anyone who really watched the forum and they grasp the idea, there is no question about it. What should I do? People simply understand it. They start making videos, they start sharing, and here's the next step: organizing your coordination center with your partner, with your friends, whoever is in your region, and then just coordinating efforts. It's not about the building. It's not about the place where you gather. It can be a online chat, but you coordinate your efforts and you expand, you get more people involved, and that's how you create in this electoral request, how we actually implement all the benefits of the creative society on legal level. That's what it's all about. And you know, the only thing that separates you from living that life are your uninformed neighbors, people who don't know. Because you know, people used to live in these fears. People hearing something new, they're gonna think, oh, it's a scam, it's this and that, because in consumers format, it's always like that. It's somebody, some globalist trying to take over the world, some, you know, how many simply uninformed people who don't understand what is creative society trying to put a tag of something they heard about, something about AI, that it's scary, something about World Economic Forum, and something else. And they asking, are you guys globalists? Yes, we are, but we are not the globalists that sitting together with Klaus Schwab and, you know, people in the Davos and gathering and thinking how to take over the world. You know what? Those guys are not globalists. They fighting for the interest of a small, minimal group of people. They are, in fact, minimalists. We're not minimalists. We are globalists in the most broad and global sense of this world. We are standing for the interest of 99.9% of the people, those people who are decent people, who want to live in the decent society, treat neighbors well, and so on. So, you know what, the very funny point, that movie, the Idiot movie that was presented there, it clearly shows you are either uninformed. If you don't support the creative society, you are either uninformed or you must be an idiot. There is no other way to explain this. So if you're uninformed, it's very easy to cure this part. You know, you just have to learn, just watch the forum and you will grasp the idea. There is nothing that stands between you and this beautiful world we all want to live in besides your inaction. This is it. This is it. There is nothing
People
else.
say, yeah, this is it. Now, I think after people watch the forum, they'll understand why this is it. It's not that, because I used to think that too, like, what do you mean this is it? You mean I don't have any other options? It's really not about that I don't have any other options. It's the reality of the situation that makes it, this is the best option. That's why we say, this is it. That's what I learned yesterday, being able to take in the forum everything that I watch, and I'm going to go watch it again and again and again. That's what I'm telling you all who are watching right now. The reason why this is it, because that forum is going to answer all of the questions that you might have. And if the forum doesn't answer all the questions you might have, global crisis, there is a way out. Your coordination center, that's what that's for you to go back and refresh and ask the questions again. And ask it again if you don't quite understand. And maybe we can break down the video even more so. I know that's what we'll be doing in the Black experience of being human in the creative society, because we want to make sure in layman's term, you understand exactly what the creative society is all about. It's all about you. I promise you, that's all it is. The name, everything, it represents all of us as the human race, one race.
And you know, we know that there's a lot of people that know about the Creative Society, but they haven't taken that step. They haven't contacted us yet, you know?
Yes.
And it's so important for you to contact us. Go on the website right now. Click the Join Us button. You know, we would love to hear from you. We know that only together can we make this change. Can we make a difference? Can we build the Creative Society? So don't wait. Don't just watch and see, is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen? Because without you, nothing's going to happen. Creative Society is not going to build itself. We need to unite all people. So take that step. Go on there right now, share this information as well, and, you know, start informing other people, because this is the only solution. We know that today there is no other solution for our future.
And that's why I'm glad you said that. Yeah. And that's why we say there is no other solution. There literally is no other solution. I mean, RoyStar, am I exaggerating? There literally, in my mind,
there's no other solution. You know, I feel like the Creative Society represents the best of us. You know what I mean? We all come together, we're aware, and we have recognized that there is no other solution. So we've given our time, our energy, we volunteered our blood, sweat, and tears in order to bring this information to the world, you know, because we understand the importance of the truth, of the circumstance that we're in globally. So it's been honestly, for me, it's been an amazing experience. I've been blessed to share such amazing experiences with such amazing people from around the world. And my experience in the Creative Society lets me know that this is our option. This is it.
Why don't we wrap up our final thoughts on?
Before we wrap it up,
Okay.
I just want to say that how much interconnected everything was there, because you cannot take one thing and take it out of the context, like economy or a solution of the scientific things. And even what Eliza is here, and she knows. Maybe we should ask this question for Lisa, like how much important is it to actually provide conditions for the scientists to work comfortably on the research project, on the, explanation and new technological solutions when it comes to degazation of supervolcanoes, when it comes to actually understanding this energy that is beyond quantum physics, that we don't even understand quantum physics in today's. And you've seen the collider part, you've seen how much explanation it is already given there. But Elizabeth, could you tell us a little bit more, like how much is it important for the scientific community to have the creative society and the condition that it creates, and what kind of conditions are necessary to solve this problem with the global climate crisis that we are witnessing right now?
Yes, indeed. It's absolutely necessary. The creative format of society is necessary to unite the potential of scientists. And as it was shown at the forum, after all, the external cosmic impact that is now affecting the core of our planet is actually a colossal energy, which can be like an impulse of death, and our planet can turn into Mars. But it can be as well an impulse to life if humanity unites and changes the format of society, because this energy, we cannot stop this flow of energy, but we can redirect it when we understand how it works and how we can use it for our benefit. And the same principles that create this impact, they will allow us to create such magnificent technologies in a creative society as a capsule of health capsule or matter replicator. And now, at the moment, it is simply impossible to combine the potential of scientists in such a way that they will all sit down together from different countries. The most outstanding specialists who, as a rule, are now in general engaged in the same developments and even the same cosmic impact, only in order to create new types of weapons, in order to kill each other, in order to, in this modern consumer format of society, some countries to compete others and win over someone. But if we combine the potential of scientists, we can easily, absolutely easily provide everyone with any resources that scientists will need, with complete financial independence, because these people, they should think only about how to learn to manage this impact, this flow of energy, how to use it for our benefit, how we can stop this cosmic energy going to our core. And in general, we have a little time left. We have literally 6 or 7 relatively stable years left, as our mathematical model have shown. This model was presented at the forum. A global crisis, our survival is in unity, and in such short time, it's possible to make such breakthrough discoveries only if we combine the potential of our scientists. After all, when we unite, we manage to do many times more, faster and more efficiently. And now, in order to get out as soon as possible, we need to combine the potential of all scientists, and first of all, the most brilliant of them. But so does everyone else. All those specialists are narrowly specialized who work in some closed design bureaus. They work in some narrow areas, even studying the amphibians, how amphibians die due to the weakening of magnetic field, or some scientists that learn about atmospheric phenomena such as glowing pillars. They're extremely necessary. Their expertise will be extremely necessary for those specialists who are engaged in quantum physics, so that it is possible to fully combine the whole concept that we have mentioned in order to supplement it with all the fragments in general, the unknown of science for the whole scientific world. These unknown puzzles, we need to combine them together. And our main goal is to stop this flow of external influence to the core. And the pleasant bonus will be just that we exactly The same way we can use this effect in the regeneration capsule, health capsule. But right now, in consumer format of society is scary to think to create a meta replicator, what's going to be created there, weapons or some other terrible things, because right now we only divide ourselves and destroy ourselves.
Not only are we uniting the scientists, we saw global leaders, future leaders, that are also uniting. That's another reason to check out the global crisis and how we are looking at unity as a solution. There is a way out. And it's really going to make sense when you watch the forum. It's all going to make sense when you take the time, even if you have to watch it in parts, even if you have to digest a half an hour at a time and go back and rewind. You're going to want to go back and rewind. I know I went back and rewound a few times. And that's okay, because there's a lot of dense information in there for everyone to be able to understand. And at the same time, a lot of real information that has truth and facts, which is what people look for. People like us as journalists, that's what we look for. So any final thoughts as we let people know about not only this forum to come, but being a part of the Creative Society? Final thoughts?
Well, just ask questions. I want to encourage everyone. If you have any questions, if you, first of all, ask them, write in the comment section below, like, where's the money coming from, and so on. All of the questions you ask us, we answer. We give answers. Sometimes it's amazing questions that allow us to dig deeper into our research, and we're finding out amazing new things about, this part or that part, or exactly how the ocean, for example, matters in the climate change. And what was the anthropogenic part in it? Not just the atmosphere that everybody talks about because it's profitable taxation and, money income for someone. But how did we change on molecular level, with microplastic, the ocean, that it is not capable of maintaining its main function anymore, actually working as a coolant, as a huge AC to our planet. And this is something that we, had to dig deeper, because the request came from you, our dear viewers. So once you understand this, in this forum, we really gave the most comprehensive analysis of everything. So please watch it. If you don't find answers there, or if it's going to spark more curiosity, ask in the comments below. You can reach out on any social media. We have Twitter accounts. We have for Global Crisis and for Creative Society. We have our Rumble account, which was blowing up yesterday. It was #1 trending stream on Rumble, and that's all thanks to you, our friends. So please share this video in your social media platform, across your social media. Make a TikTok with your own review, with your thoughts. Make a post on Twitter and let the whole world know, what are you thinking about the world you actually would love to live in.
So it's about show me the money, show me the facts. Like it. RoyStar, final thoughts.
Check it out, guys. Check out the forum, share, like with your friends. Get it out there. Let's go. It's time.
Olga, last word with you.
Yes, right now we're discussing the international online forum that took place yesterday on April 22nd. It was called Global Crisis, There Is a Way Out. I think the name kind of gave it away. We talked about the climate issues, what's going on. We talked a lot. We answered a lot of the questions that the viewers had, as Taliy said, that we tried to really do the best we can to answer all the questions that you ask us in comments. And then we also talked about the Creative Society, the solution, what can be done, how it can be done, what your part is in it. So we definitely encourage you to check it out, record your videos, and come on these international discussions with us. We would love to see you. So.
Remember, you are the change. Thank you for joining us on this international after forum discussion. And as we close out, and thank you, Elizabeth. Any final thoughts you want to say, Elizabeth?
I would like to express once again my enormous gratitude to all the volunteers who participated in the creation of this forum and who participated in translations and interpretation, and now who involved in the distribution of this forum. And I also want to express my enormous gratitude to all those who will decide to create their coordination centers in the places where they are, because this is the most responsible and the most interesting and creative thing you can do right now. This is precisely to set up your coordination center, to tell, first of all, in your city, in your country, information about the creative society, and eventually to the whole humanity.